Hello, and welcome to the Retirement Income Institute Fellows Corner. I'm Suzanne Norman, Director of External Relations for the Institute, and I am thrilled to have here today Ankul Daga, one of our research fellows. Ankul is an investment strategist with Vanguard, and he's responsible for their goals-based research that ends up in 529 plans, target date funds, advisor portfolios. And I'm very excited to have you here today, Ankul, because your recent paper for the Institute is something new for us. And I really am excited to explore this whole concept of target date funds and what could be happening with them. And I'd love to, learn a little bit more about what you like about target date funds.
Great to be here, Susan. Thanks for having me. So my favorite thing about target date funds is the freedom that they give the end retirement saver. They're like financial GPS. They guide the retirement saver automatically. They don't need to stress out, they don't need to engage with the plan themselves, and that their plan sponsors have already picked a choice for them, which would work well for most of the participants. And the good thing is, while they're saving from each of their paychecks, this pool of savings is growing even while they sleep.
And it has grown exponentially after the Pension Protection Act. And I looked recently, and there's probably almost 40% I saw of plans, defined contribution space, are using target date funds, and almost 7 out of 10 participants, investors, are using them. So it's really interesting. And some of you might be wondering why Uncle is writing for the Institute about target date funds. But of course, the title of your paper is we're looking at this hybrid concept of annuities and target date funds. So could you talk a little bit about what you see there?
Sure. I think these hybrid annuity target date funds are essentially blending the traditional investment with annuities. And the end goal of all of this is to provide predictable or reliable lifetime income to the retirement saver. Um, think of it like a built-in pension inside a target date fund, which starts paying you some form of income once you retire. That could start at the age of 65, could start a little later, depending on what the investor's preference is. Um, the end purpose of this is it would give a steady paycheck to this investor, to this saver, in their retirement lifetime. And in a way, they won't have to stress about those basic needs during that period. This gets very much to the heart of the issue, which is that it solves the purpose of the end investor and gives them that peace of mind as they get on their retirement journey.
And something you just said made me think about this interesting pivot that's happening. So obviously, most of our institute research is around the retirement topic, but also, having protected income, and the pensions are going away considerably in the corporate space as well as the public space. And this concept of 529s, especially taking someone to retirement, it sounds to me like there's a lot that's happening with this new pivot concept of through retirement. So as you say, taking the space of having that predictable income through your lifetime. You've done a lot of research with clients and plan participants. Can you talk a little bit about what they're telling you?
Sure. I think the sentiment from clients and participants has been mixed to this point. Most people love the concept of having guaranteed income, but at the same time, they really have a dislike for annuities. The moment you mention there's some form of annuities, either it is the complexity of it or it's the cost of it, which really gets them off. It's like kale, great for you, but really tough sell. Um, so on the whole, what we are seeing is that mixing it with target date funds, which are the bread and butter of retirement savings, is making people think, making plan sponsors think whether this might be a good way for the plan sponsor to support the retirement income needs of their participants. So there is a element of cautious optimism as they're looking at it. But again, these are early days. There are a whole range of different offers gradually coming into the marketplace. And so this space will probably need some time to mature, but it seems like really exciting times at the moment.
And what I love about your paper is it goes into a lot of the considerations that people need to make. So you already mentioned that there may be some sentiment issues, there may be some financial literacy issues. What are five or so practical steps that you would say are helpful for people to think about when we're marrying these two types of investments?
Yeah, I think there are so many considerations that one can easily get lost, like Alice in Wonderland, right? So I'll go through the top things, right? So the first thing is the complexity of this. The beauty of target date funds is they're simple. Now we're adding annuities to it. And a lot of times the complexity becomes a bit of a hurdle. The second thing is the suitability of it, which is we know that everybody's retirement is unique, it's different. So there is no one size that will fit everybody. But these solutions are trying to provide access to everybody to both target date funds and annuities. And so they do face the suitability issue with the end participant and their needs. The third thing is the cost. The moment you bring insurance into the equation, costs will go up, right? Now, the question is whether that cost gives you the peace of mind and is worth it, or it's not worth it. So costs tend to be the third thing that comes up. And then number fourth thing is control and liquidity. People fear losing control of their savings. Even if they annuitize 10% or 20%, it's an irrevocable decision. And that's really, you know, gets a lot of people. And that's been coined as the annuity puzzle that we're all too familiar with. And then the final piece is the implementation of it. Given the moving parts of this, to implement it, you need both a annuity setup and a fund setup. And then you need the record keeper to support it in the back end. So the operational implementation of it is complex, and to get comfortable with it and to operationalize it takes a significant effort.
And it's interesting too when we get to this aspect of incorporating something new into the ecosystem. When I think about this idea of introducing one of the few things that we have access to as investors that can give us sort of that do-it-yourself guaranteed income, with the wellness conversation about retirement, and you already talked about a lot of the emotions and sentiments. What are your thoughts related to this being central versus peripheral to the retirement space?
I really dream about holistic DC planning, a holistic ecosystem which has investments, advice, guaranteed income, wellness, everything combined together and in a way curated by the plan sponsor. So you can say I'm fairly biased in that, right? Now, I admit it's not for every plan sponsor. But for those who would like to go in this direction, I see whether it's the hybrid target date fund or emergency savings account or some kind of long term care provision, all of them um, coming together to provide a really comprehensive ecosystem to meet the needs of the end participant. And that, as much of the research shows, that set of tools can give the participants the confidence to spend down their assets. So it's not any of the one things or any of the elements in the toolkit, it's the combination of the whole thing, which I believe is just absolutely fantastic. And I certainly hope that that becomes a reality in the years to come.
Thank you. And Uncle, we're thrilled to have this in our Institute library. It's the first time that we've actually had this ability to go deep into the concept of putting pieces together, as you say, to improve outcomes. And most importantly, not only financial outcomes, but confidence and enjoying retirement. So thank you so much for doing this for us. And also, I really feel that this paper is doing what our motivation is to take retirement research into the real world and think about what the actual investor is going to achieve. So I thank you, and those of you that are interested in more of this research, please visit us at protectedincome.org at the Institute. And Uncle, thank you for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing everyone on another Fellows Corner soon. Thank you.